Hello, everybody. My name is Lisa Burwell. I'm the founder and editor-in-chief of VIE Magazine, and you are listening and watching VIE Speaks, Think Out Loud podcast. And my guest today is Jordan Staggs, managing editor of VIE Magazine. She has been with the magazine for 8+ years, and to say the magazine wouldn't be the magazine without Jordan Staggs would be a phenomenal understatement. Welcome, Jordan.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Well, good. Well, we are right now in the midst of getting like the 94th issue, something like that, to press, that goes to press on Wednesday. And today is Wednesday. That means we have the week push to the finish line, which we kind of have a joke around here where the week prior to the magazine uploading, everyone is not very talkative. They're in kind of not so great of a mood, in a tad grouchy.
Yeah, I guess you could call it Hell Week. Is that what they call it in
Yes.
the sororities and fraternities?
Yes. So this is where we are now, but we've been here, as I said,
Yes.
many 90-something times ago. I think it's 93. So we'll get through it like we always do, but let's just throw a little podcast in the mix so that we can't we just get, sidetracked like one more time. So to everybody listening, Jordan came to the company as an intern 9 years ago, and she did a great job. And I knew she was a great writer. I knew she was a great editor from the get-go. But I could have never known that you actually, after all these years, are the most prolific writer that I know. And I asked you yesterday because I was struggling to write an article. I know how many things you have to edit and how many things you have to write. And I'm like, Jordan, how do you write so much? And you said,
I said, I don't
just
know.
do.
I just do. It's been something that I've done since I was old enough to hold a pencil, I think. I was always writing stories growing up and poems. And the first one I ever had published, I think I was 9 years old. I wrote a poem about spaghetti.
I remember, and I
And it was
read
in the
it. It was
paper.
really good, and it wasn't. Yeah, so
They put it in the kids section of the paper in my hometown, and that was so exciting to me, seeing my name on it when it
sure.
was published. So I think I kind of always wanted to do that.
Well, you have walked in your calling's footsteps for sure. Do you remember the poem?
Oh yeah.
Can you recite it?
Oh God.
Oh, for
Do
it.
I have to?
No, you don't have to do anything you don't want to.
I can.
Go for it.
Okay. I don't remember the name of the poem, but I know it was about spaghetti. So
Okay.
we were studying Shel Silverstein in my class in 3rd grade. So that gives a little background. It's supposed to be his style of poetry.
Okay.
So it was, we made a big pot of spaghetti. We threw it at parties for confetti. When it was gone, we knew what to do. Make more spaghetti and throw it at you. Here we come with our big bowl. We're coming your way and we're out of control. So you better watch out for us and our bowl of spaghetti.
Wow. 9 years old? That's really good. And so it was a competition?
No, it was just my teacher
You
just
just
sent it
submitted
into
it?
the paper.
Wow. Well, like I said, you are in the right. And then you had interned at Flower Magazine before coming
Yes.
to us.
In
So
Birmingham.
in Birmingham. And your alma mater is
I went to the University of Alabama. So I had made a connection to Flower Magazine while I was there and did a summer internship.
and that's a good magazine.
Mhm.
And you liked that
Oh, I
magazine
love it.
too.
And the people there are so nice.
Yeah, and they're still doing a great magazine
They
too.
are.
My hat's off to them. And I met that magazine through you, or got to know them through you, and I think it's really good. But to think that in your very young life that you have done so much writing and been in the magazine publishing business, and then, marketing and branding as well with our publisher, The Idea Boutique too. So you can crank it out. And I just when I was having my struggle, I'm like, how the heck do you write this much? Hats off. Magazine would not be what it is without you.
Thank you.
And I just think the world and have so much respect and admiration for everything that you do. You are a pivotal integral part of VIE Magazine. And one of the fun things about having a podcast is being able to share that. And I think that we're a small company. We have like a family culture. We've traveled probably together more than anyone
A
I
lot of
know,
people.
for business,
Yes.
uh, and quite a lot. And one of our last trips, well, the last trip that we took was to New York
Mhm,
in November,
mhm, October
October,
of last year.
October
Yep.
last year. And that was our last company trip when we, drum roll please, because I still can't believe that it happened, but we interviewed and did the cover shoot with Tina Brown on the cover, the legendary Tina Brown of New Yorker, Vanity Fair, Fame, Vanity Diaries, and her own Women in the World that she's doing right now.
Mhm.
And it was, for me, like a pinnacle moment in my own career that the woman in the 80s, when I would be reading Vanity Fair and the New Yorker, respectively, in the
Mhm.
times that she was there, was like the grand dame of like publishing and she was legit and she's an amazing writer and just everything that she dominated and brought to the table. I I just think it was a career highlight, and I think it
Mhm.
was great for the magazine. And I like giving the audience just a little background insight onto how these things happen because, like, who would know how all of this happened?
Right.
So we'll give backstory. And on one of our meet and greets that we've been basically jaunting around the United States for the last 3.5 years.
Mhm.
One of them was Charleston, and Charleston was a great city for us to embed into. The V was very welcomed into that city, and people really love the magazine. And these meet and greets are intended to grow the brand and grow the readership and grow the distribution. So we met Suzanne Pollock, who is the dean of the Charleston Academy, and she was very
Mhm.
influential to us basically meeting a lot of other people and opening some new doors. So a couple of years after, and she's been a contributing writer since, she called us up a year and a half ago and asked if we wanted to sponsor the literary festival in Charleston that she was the acting director of that year. And of course, we said yes, and we all got in the car or the plane again and went back to Charleston like several times, one of them being when we were sponsoring and hosting the Tina Brown and Literary Festival. And I thought her presentation was fantastic, and it really spoke to me. It spoke to me, and one of the things that she said from the stage was at the Dock Street Theater. That's where
Yes.
the oldest theater in the United
It was
States.
beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. It was just, like, intimate and charming and so historic. And, she said she felt really badly for, regional magazines, because she didn't see how they could survive, and she thought that the world really needed to continue to have localized and regional magazines and newspapers as well, or else then the news just becomes one voice,
Mhm.
and it's not going to be good for anybody, and that, ad revenue alone cannot sustain that type of, a business. And so I was sitting there, and I felt like she was actually talking right to me about
Mhm.
what we were doing and how that is why we have been on this national launch that we've been doing with our Stories with Heart and Soul. So, we all stood in line, we bought her book, Vanity
Yes.
Fair Diaries, and then I was nervous, but I had to go for it, so I just said, "Tina, we have V Magazine and we sponsored you, and can you take a picture with us and our whole crew?" So, we interrupted the entire line and created the entourage chaos that we do kind of wherever we go, and,
Yes.
she had to stop and took a picture with us. And, a couple months later, I think I reached out to someone that knew her, through Suzanne, actually, about if she could help, get a door open for us to talk to Tina Brown about being on the cover. So tell everybody a little bit about that experience from your vantage point, from what it meant to you. I just said what it meant to me, and then how we went about everything, and then like our little trip to Hamilton that we had so much fun at.
Mhm. So, I mean, for me, it was an amazing experience too, kind of surreal, especially being there in her apartment. I mean, she was so gracious to let us come in and do the shoot there. She had just moved in recently, and She didn't have to do that. It was so nice of her, and it was very intimate. She did a great job. She's such a professional. We had our whole crew come in and out, and flowers and all of this. And I think that, like you said, she's still one of the biggest names in publishing, and she sees things that others don't, as far as the industry goes, and how that it's so important to have different voices in publishing throughout the world, and that's what she's done now with The Daily Beast, founding that. I mean, digital publishing is huge. I mean, but like she said, that print is not dead, and we still need these smaller publications, voices from, regular people, which is what we always try to do in V, and telling their stories, and also taking the celebrity side of it, but telling more heartfelt, intimate stories from those people as well. So I think that Tina Brown has done a great job throughout the years of evolving with the times, and now founding Women in the World, which is huge. And she's telling stories from women literally all over the world.
Correct.
And all, backgrounds and
Important issues
industries.
that no one's
Yes.
talking about
Things
because
that
no one talks about anything except ridiculous things.
Exactly. So getting those voices out there and their stories is so important. And getting to meet her and do that shoot was huge for me as a writer and an editor as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
I love kind of becoming a chameleon and trying to meld different voices when I'm editing a piece that someone else has written. I think it's important to maintain that integrity of what the writer sounds like.
It's
And
true.
it's a skill that I think I've, definitely been able to hone while I'm here,
I agree.
which has been great, and I love it. And I think I like editing even more than writing
You've
sometimes.
said that a couple of times. You are a good editor.
Writing is hard, like you
It
said.
is hard.
It's not.
It is hard.
It is hard.
Thank you
I
for
even
fixing my piece that I wrote yesterday, dear Lord.
It was good. It's a great one. People are gonna love it.
So, you know what Tina said? I mean, I know you know this, but we'll tell the audience. So, after the shoot was done, by the way, another shout out to Carlo Pieroni, like one of our
Yes.
A-game photographers with his wife Carol, who brought it.
They're such an
And
amazing team.
amazing team, and they got the cover shoot again and everything else that we needed them to do. And we do make a good team with them as well.
Mhm.
And I think Tina was impressed with the whole, entourage that we
Yes.
brought. I do,
I think
because
so.
you know what? Sometimes I don't know we're impressive until we go out, and then people that are very influential think like that we have our act together
Mhm.
more than
Mhm.
anybody they've ever seen before. And I'm like, what are the other people doing
I don't know.
that we do?
Yeah, and
We
we
should
hear that
bottle
all the
it and make
time.
millions and millions of dollars.
Yes. From her, from hair and makeup people and
The inspiration board that
managers
we
and
put together,
agents.
and
Yeah, they always
they
say
always say we're nice and we're organized. That's good. Nice goes a long way.
Yes.
Organization does too. So remember when we handed her several copies of the magazine and we
Mhm.
said, "So this is the magazine you're going to be on," and distribution in airports and Barnes and Noble and newsstands across the country. And she kept holding the magazine and she goes, "So I'm going to be in this magazine, like the printed magazine." And she asked a couple of times. Well, yes. And she said, to really tell you the truth, she said, "I think print is more credible than digital.
Mhm.
No matter how much that the world is morphing to digital, and I have a digital platform," she said, "still to this day, I think reading an article in a printed magazine is more credible." So, as I've always thought, or we wouldn't still be making a magazine 13 years later if I didn't think it was credible and other people didn't think it was credible. It's just this whole world that has like stamped like digital, not
Mhm.
print. And I'm like, yeah, that's actually not true, but whatever.
Right. Yeah, and I think they both have their ups and downs for sure. Digital, it's just such a fluid platform, and anybody can make a website and call it a news site, and so it's hard to sort of tell sometimes what's the most credible source. So I
Right.
think having that print
It's credible.
it makes you put more effort, I mean, usually into it, and it does give a perception of being, like, high class and
Right.
credible and, trustworthy.
Trustworthy. Yeah, exactly. So All right, so we had such a good time, like a highlight moment, as I've said, with Tina on the cover, and I liked her a lot. I really, really liked her.
Mhm.
Um, she warmed up to us, and she didn't have to because, she doesn't have to, and she did, and I really, appreciated that. But was it the night before or was it that night that we went to Hamilton? It was the night
It was
before,
the
so
night
tell the
before
story of that because that's part
when
of the
we
whole
arrived.
thing, the
Yes,
whole
so
game.
we arrived in New York, sort of in the afternoon, like maybe 2, 3 o'clock. Did not anticipate the airport fiasco that we were gonna have that day. They had just rolled out a new rideshare, not
App.
program, but,
Mhm.
I guess protocol at the airport, so we were waiting in a huge line for over an hour probably,
In the rain.
in the rain, trying to figure out how to get into an Uber or a cab or whatever was there available to take us to our hotel.
Because we had the tickets.
We had tickets to Hamilton that night, which was huge. You know, they're difficult to get, and we were so excited to go, and, I'm a big fan of musicals and it was one that I really wanted to see for a long time, so that was
Stressful.
stressful trying to get from the airport to the hotel and then checked in, and then from the hotel to Hamilton in time, in the rain. No Ubers, cabs to speak of. We I think we kinda stole one from someone outside our hotel.
We tried to, but then we
I'm
said,
not
"No,
yeah.
we won't steal it. We'll let you have it."
Anyway, it was difficult to get a car, and then, when we finally got there, huge line to get into the theater, which, is to be expected, and we had to pick up tickets from will call, which was another just added level of we don't know what we're doing, kind of stressful, and, but we did it, and we managed to kinda sneak in not sneak in, we got our tickets and we went in, but,
No, we didn't have
the
to wait in
usher
the
was
line.
yeah, the usher was very nice
I
to
asked him if
us.
he would let us in because we needed help, and
So
he
we
said
didn't have to go all the way back to the end of the line, but the seats were great, the show was phenomenal, um, what Lin-Manuel Miranda has done with that show and everything that he writes is just incredible, the music, the cast that we saw, obviously not the original cast, but they did such a great job, and I think that I mean, for me as a writer, seeing his work and as a lover of theater and musicals, it was a life-changing experience. I know that sounds super cliche, but it was,
it was
and it
amazing.
was so inspiring, what they've done, and seeing this story play out on the stage that, like, we all kind of know the background of, the founding fathers and all these people, but they did it in such a way that it really humanizes them. They're not just people that you read about in the history book. It's like, oh, these are real people. They had feelings and they're doing all these things out of passion and fear and love. And I don't know. That's just like
Yeah.
what we want to strive to
It
do as well.
yeah, it was amazing, like, choreography, just the rapping, and I know you can do it, and I'm gonna really ask you to do it. Give me a
No.
rap. Come on, you can do it, you can do it, you know it so good. Please do, everyone will love it.
Okay. Okay. Which one should I do?
Any, because you know the whole thing.
I'll do that.
Go.
Um, okay. I'm gonna do a little bit of My Shot, which is like the first sort of big number, I guess,
'Kay.
by Hamilton.
Okay. Yes. This is good
This is
stuff.
so embarrassing.
This is good stuff.
Okay. It's, Imma get a scholarship to King's College. I probably shouldn't brag, but daggit, I'm amazing, astonished. The problem is I got a lot of brains but no polish. I gotta holler just to be heard with every word I drop knowledge. I'm a diamond in the rough, a shiny piece of coal trying to reach my goal. My power of speech unimpeachable. Only 19, but my mind is older. These New York City streets getting colder. I shoulder every burden, every disadvantage I have learned to manage. I don't have a gun to brandish. I walk these streets famished. The plan is to fan this spark into a flame, but damn, it's getting dark, so let me spell out my name. I am the ALEXANDER. We are meant to be a colony that runs independently. And it keeps going on, but I'm gonna stop there.
We are wow.
This has taken months of preparation.
And by the way, she knows every word of the entire
'Cause
show.
it's so good, and
I
I've been
know.
listening to it nonstop since October.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Thank you for doing that.
Oh god,
I
I'm
hoped you
shaking
would
right
do
now.
it, but man, was that good. That was so good.
Lin-Manuel Miranda, I'm sorry.
I still can't get over it. I can't
Thanks.
wait to watch this podcast or listen to it so I can hear you do that
Catch my
again
Broadway
and again.
debut
Yes,
later.
yes. Too bad Broadway's
I
closed
know,
right
when
now.
it
So we need
reopens.
you. We need you so desperately. So, all right, now let's segue from that experience. And who knew when we were sitting in the theater watching that,
Mhm,
that right around the corner, 7, 8, 9 months later, we were going to have the opportunity to interview Leslie Odom,
mhm.
who was part of the original Hamilton cast, and he was our cover guy, cover gent. I call him a cover gent because
Yes.
gent is more sophisticated and civilized than guy. So he was our cover gent for our entertainment issue
Mhm.
just 3 months ago, and we were so excited about it. So tell everybody about that.
That was such a great opportunity too, and I'm so glad that he agreed to do it and, was excited about being on the cover. We had a really nice phone conversation with him that I think, ran longer than it was supposed to because we were just having a great time talking. And, he's done so many incredible things. He started on Broadway when he was 17 or 18, I think, from Philadelphia, and had said he fell in love with theater, musical theater through Rent, which was another big influence on me as when I was about that age as well, because that was kinda right when the movie came out. Um, Again, another huge, powerful story about love and just real people trying to live their lives and do whatever they can do to stay alive and stay together. Um, so getting that opportunity was so cool, and having him on the entertainment issue was just perfect. And, he's been, you know, speaking out on his social media platforms, so much for his community, um, especially, Black actors in the theater, right now, and he's been such a great voice for that, and I think that it's super important that, we continue to highlight him as a V
Yes.
past cover star. So, yeah, that was just
Yeah, he was
such a
amazing.
great
And then
opportunity.
when we were interviewing him too, he was just embarking on a 6-week tour
Mhm.
for his new
His album that came
album.
out last year, yeah, he was just starting his tour for that, which unfortunately the tour was canceled, but it's such a great album. It's called Mister, and, it's a good mix of jazz and soul, and you really get his personality through it, instead of just sort of what we know of him from Broadway so
Right.
far.
Yeah.
So highly recommend that to
Yes.
anybody.
Yes, it's amazing, and hopefully he'll get to reignite his tour
Mhm.
when, this whole thing's over with the pandemic and all that because, I think he did one show, and then I think all the other shows had to get canceled, which was, like,
Mhm.
huge disappointment for so many people had so many different
I know.
disappointments that they had to endure, which like, when I call it, like, the world paused,
Mhm.
which was something else, but what he was also an actor in several, different movies,
Yes,
the
yes, and he has, some more coming out this year. I mean, I'm hoping that they come out on time. One where it's it's all about, it's called One Night in Miami, I think, and that's gonna be a great one. So,
that's good.
looking forward to seeing what he does in the future.
So what would you say was, like, a highlight, while you have been managing editor? Like, there's so many different things, but what would you say, like, was either an article that you wrote or a photo shoot that we went on? I have one that's my favorite with you, but you tell me what's your
Okay.
favorite.
Oh gosh, it's really hard to pick a favorite, and the Tina Brown experience is definitely up there. I think that the Ireland, photo shoot at Hinch Castle was incredible, going there with fashion designer Christian Siriano and those beautiful gowns, beautiful, beautiful.
And the beautiful
Yes,
place.
the
Oh
beautiful
my gosh.
setting. Ireland's such a great country. Everyone there was so welcoming and warm to us, and we had a sunny day for that shoot.
Yeah, the sun had not been out for 6 months before we
Yes,
got there. I
that's what
mean,
they
this
said.
is true, and they asked us some really sort of, like, irreverent question if we
Like, if we had, like, done a
a
sacrifice or
sacri
something.
yeah, how did we get the sun out? No, anyway, the Irish wit can be very, like, dark and gloomy and funny all at the same time, but, yes, we were really
Mhm.
blessed with a sunny day. Okay, so my favorite one of my favorite photo shoots, and then concepting and the writing was, this dystopian shoot.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, that was definitely because so Bella won, um, South Walton Fashion Week,
Mhm.
um, model
Mhm.
competition, and V had been a sponsor with them for 4 years, and whoever won as a designer and the model got a cover feature and a feature in the magazine.
Mhm.
So Bella was the last one,
She
the
was the
4th.
last one along with, the male model, which was Jordan Canamar, and the designer, Rochelle Valenzuela. So we were using his
Yes.
clothes and had him make the custom jumpsuit for her because he only did men's clothing before
Yes.
that. So he did,
That was
I
so
think, the
cool.
jumpsuit and the dress
Why don't
for
we
that
have that
shoot.
jumpsuit? How can we get
I
that
know.
jumpsuit, that
Did we?
pink
I don't
jumpsuit?
know. Did Bella get to keep it?
I don't know, I'll have to
I
ask
don't
her.
remember.
But that was amazing. But the whole concept, and then, you wordsmithed that
Mhm.
concept and brought that concept to life, which was pretty
That
cool.
was such a fun story,
Very.
to tell through I mean, for the photos, and then I think you and Tracy had sort of come up with the concept, and then we all worked together to really
It was
lay
around
it out.
Christmas time, and
Yeah.
there was a Twilight Zone, marathon episode, marathon for, like, 4
Okay.
days, and I watched it,
Okay.
and how I came up with the concept was inspired from my 4 days of
Uh-huh.
watching The Twilight Zone.
I did not know that part.
Yes,
That's
that's how.
hilarious, but I love it.
So, well, to many more memories with lots more money.
Yes.
Jordan, you've been an awesome guest. I've had a lot of fun.
Me too.
All right, thanks for
Okay.
being on VIE Speaks, Think Out Loud.
Thank you.
Thanks.